In the endless stretch of the Orion Reach, where light from dying stars painted the void in fading amber, a small outpost drifted unnoticed among the forgotten trade routes. It was called Tirith Station, a settlement of no importance to the great empires inhabited by quiet folk who only wished to survive another day. The outpost was built from patched metal, powered by scavenged reactors and manned by exiles, refugees, and wanderers who had nowhere else to go. Among them lived a young mechanic named Raylan, a member of a thin, scaled species known for their timid nature. His hands were steady, his mind clever, and his dreams humble, just to keep Tirith's old reactors running. He had no interest in the wars raging across the sectors, nor the endless disputes of the Galactic Council. His world was bolts, wires, and recycled air. That changed the day the ship fell from the sky. The vessel came screaming through the upper atmosphere like a wounded beast, trailing smoke and fire before crashing in the dunes beyond the outpost. Raylan and the others gathered at the gates, watching the rising plume of black against the pale horizon. Many wanted to leave it alone. Salvage would bring trouble, and trouble was something Tirath could not afford. But Raylan could not ignore it. Against the advice of the elders, he took a rover and went out alone. The wreck was half buried in sand, hull scorched, engines shattered. It was a human ship, small, sleek, built for speed, marked with a faded emblem of a blue sphere. Raylan had heard of humans before. Everyone had. They were the newcomers who rose from a single world and, within a few centuries, claimed the stars as if they were theirs by right. Some said they were brave, others said they were dangerous. All agreed they were unpredictable. Inside the wreck, Raylan found one survivor. A human soldier, barely conscious, armor cracked and blood drying on his lips. Raylan hesitated. His kind avoided violence and those who carried it. Yet something in the human's broken form stirred him, a stubborn fire in the eyes that refused to go out. Against all reason, he dragged the human back to the outpost. For days, he treated the wounds using what little megal and scraps he had. The human said little at first. Only later did he speak, his voice hoarse and quiet. "Name's Reed," he said. "Pilot, Terran Defense Fleet." Raylan nodded, unsure how to reply. Weeks passed and Reed recovered slowly. He began to help around the station, fixing things none of them could repair. His hands were steady, his mind sharp, and he carried himself with a calm precision that unsettled some of the outpost dwellers. Yet Raylan noticed the difference he made. Generators ran smoother. Lights stopped flickering and the air filters no longer choked. The others tolerated him, though they whispered behind closed doors. Then came the patrols. Ships from the Varathi Syndicate, a powerful cartel that claimed the Reach, began to appear more frequently. They demanded tribute, fuel, food, and workers. Tirith Station had always paid quietly to stay forgotten, but this time the Varathi captain wanted more. He demanded laborers to work in the mines of Draxos, or the station would be burned. Reed stood in the gathering hall when the threat was delivered. His expression was unreadable, but when the Varathi turned to leave, Reed spoke. "You won't take them." The Varathi laughed. "And who will stop us, human?" Reed stepped forward, calm as ever. "I will." The captain reached for his weapon. He never finished the motion. Reed's hand blurred, and in a heartbeat the alien lay sprawled on the floor, throat crushed. The hall fell silent. "Pack your things," Reed said quietly to Raylan. "They'll be back." They came the next day, 3 ships strong, armed and ready to destroy the station. Reed moved like a man possessed. He took control of the outpost's old defense grid, systems no one had touched in years, and turned them into precision instruments of destruction. Turrets roared, plasma lanced through the sky, and when the dust settled, the Varathi ships were nothing but smoking wrecks. Raylan stood beside him, shaking. "They'll send more." "I know," Reed said. "But you'll have time. After that, leave this place. Don't let them find you." And he did. Reed left in one of the captured ships, leaving only a few words. "Tell your people, humans repay kindness, always." For years, Tirith Station held on, hidden in the quiet shadows of the Reach. Reed became a story, a legend whispered among the outcasts. Children grew up hearing of the lone human who had saved them once. The words he left behind became almost sacred. Then the storm came. The Varathi Syndicate grew bolder, their fleets expanding under the banner of conquest. They swept through the Reach, seizing worlds, enslaving populations, and burning any who resisted. When Tirith Station was discovered again, its defenses were old, its weapons cold, and its people too few. They came without mercy. The station fell within hours. Raylan, now older and scarred, was thrown in chains along with the others, forced aboard transport ships bound for the mines. As the stars streaked past the viewing ports, he wondered if the humans' promise had meant anything at all. Across the void, on a world called Earth, a message reached an old veteran in a Terran defense archive. The encryption was crude, ancient even, but the signature was unmistakable. A forgotten transponder code, the same one used by a pilot long presumed dead. Reed's old service AI decoded the transmission. It contained only coordinates and a name, Tirith. Within days, the data reached the Terran Fleet Command. Humanity had changed since Reed's time. No longer the desperate upstarts of the early expansion, they now stood as one of the most formidable forces in the galaxy. Yet their culture had preserved something few others understood: loyalty. When a Terran helped someone, that bond became written into their memory, their duty, their identity, and when someone aided a Terran, that debt was not forgotten. When the fleet moved, it did so without hesitation. In the cold black of space, the Terran armada emerged like a storm front, hundreds of ships unfolding from slipspace. From carriers the size of cities to gunships built for close-range annihilation, they formed a wall of metal and resolve. Their arrival was silent, but their presence screamed across every sensor within 1,000 light seconds. The Varathi fleet scrambled. Messages flooded the comm channels demanding explanation. None came. The humans offered no negotiation, no warning, no diplomacy. They simply opened fire. From orbit, the Varathi world of Draxos was illuminated by the light of vengeance. Kinetic strikes rained down like the wrath of forgotten gods, cutting through atmosphere and armor alike. Planetary shields collapsed under sustained bombardment. Cities vanished in incandescent storms. In the slave camps, Raylan and others watched the sky turn white. The guards fled, leaving their prisoners behind as shockwaves rolled across the plains. Raylan shielded his eyes, thinking the world was ending. Then the transports arrived. Sleek black ships descended through the smoke, marked with the blue sphere insignia. Their ramps dropped and armored soldiers emerged, humans moving in perfect formation. Their leader carried a flag marked with the old Terran emblem. His voice echoed through an amplifier. "This is the Terran Expeditionary Corps. You are free." The camp erupted into disbelief. Some wept, others fell to their knees. Raylan stared at the soldiers, unable to move. One of them approached him, removing his helmet. The face beneath was young, but the eyes were the same kind of fire he had seen long ago. "Name?" the soldier asked. "Raylan," he whispered. "We thought you forgot us." The soldier shook his head. "We don't forget those who helped our own. Someone once saved a Terran here. You gave him shelter when no one else would. Every Terran gun speaks for that." He handed Raylan a small metal insignia, the same kind Reed once wore. "His name was Reed," the soldier continued. "He died years ago, but his record reached command. When your station's coordinates reappeared, it was uploaded to our priority archive. You're the reason we're here." Raylan could not speak. The humans evacuated the survivors, then turned their attention to the Syndicate. The war that followed became legend. For every system the Varathi had taken, a human fleet arrived. For every world enslaved, Terran Marines landed with precision and fury. Their tactics were overwhelming, their resolve unshakable. They didn't fight for conquest, they fought for retribution. Word spread like wildfire. The phrase "every Terran gun spoke for them" became a symbol of unyielding loyalty across the stars. No government dared challenge them. Even rival empires, long wary of human expansion, stood aside as the Terran vengeance unfolded. By the war's end, the Syndicate was gone. Its fleets shattered, its leaders captured or executed by their own kind to appease the inevitable. The liberated worlds cheered as Terran banners rose above their skies, but the humans didn't stay. They rebuilt what they had destroyed, supplied food and medicine, and then left the worlds to govern themselves. Raylan, now living among the refugees on a newly rebuilt Tirath, watched the last Terran ships vanish into the clouds. He kept Reed's insignia close, a small piece of metal that meant more than any monument. Years later, when the next generation asked him if the humans were truly as fierce as the legend said, he smiled faintly. "They were fierce," he said, But that's not what made them feared. It's what made them loyal. You help one of them once and they never forget. No matter how many stars lie between. He looked up at the night sky where faint trails of Terran vessels once burned. They once called us weak, he said softly, but when the humans came back, they spoke with thunder, and every gun, every ship, every so,